What is up, fellow donor recruitment professionals? And today is Tuesday, March 23rd. And I suspect that as I continue moving forward with this show program thing, I suspect that I'll be doing a lot more videos from in the car, because it just seems like that's when I have a little bit of time in a quiet environment. I have two small kids at home, so it's really difficult for me to film when I'm at home. But I wanted to come on and do a video today talking about two stops. So here's the situation. Here at the Blood Center, we are working on getting, coming up in May, we're going to have an influx of staffing. We're expecting an additional 20 to 30 staff members to be available on the Tuesday through Friday basis. So May is, pretty much done at this point as far as booking goes. So yesterday we had a meeting. We kind of had to sit around and talk about how we're going to utilize this additional staff for our mobiles in kind of a short amount of time. So we kind of recognize that the drives would not be ideal that we're going to book on kind of short notice, but we're going to try it. So one of the ideas that we floated out was two stops, and I've heard it called piggybacks from other blood centers, but basically you do a blood drive at one location for a short amount of time, and then you pack up and you move to another location for another couple hours. So on our end, we're thinking maybe like 2.5, 3 hours at the first location, and then 2.5, 3 hours at the second location. The reason why we kind of want to do it is because we have a lot of really small blood drives scheduled right now. Our minimum drive goal because of COVID is 12 units. So we have a lot of 12 unit, 4, 5, 6 hour long drives on the books. They're not very efficient. So the thought process was we can take those existing 12 unit drives that are booked, reduce the hours a little bit, and add in a second stop, and pretty much double, we'll attempt to double those collections, because it's kind of wasteful to have a bus sitting there for 6 hours and to walk away with 12 units. And a lot of our studies have shown that it doesn't necessarily collect 12 units when it's in for 12 units. So those drives are always hit and miss. But the problem, as most of you guys will know, if you suddenly get an influx of staffing, that's fantastic, but it doesn't change your vehicle situation. We still have a fixed amount of buses that are available. So we kind of have to get creative with how we're going to utilize those buses. And this is what we kind of came up with. So it's been a long time since we did two stops. The last time I went back and looked through Hemisphere, the last time we did a two stop was back in 2017 in July. Some of them were great, others were not so good. But all of the ones that I looked at were at least in double digits, whereas right now we have a lot of 12 unit drives on the books that are more than half of them collecting single digits. So hopefully, our PA is not going to be great, but it will yield some additional units, and it will utilize some additional staff. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really curious to hear if any other blood centers out there are doing two stops at this time, and how they're kind of working them. I got a little bit of pushback from the collections team because it is difficult. It is difficult. It is a burden on the collection folks, because you got to set up a whole blood drive, tear it down, and then set up a whole another one. So I understand that. I get that, but we got to do what we got to do right now to get blood, and there's not a whole lot of options, but this is one of them. So this is kind of what the direction we're going. But I'm really curious to hear from other blood centers if you guys are doing two stops, how successful they've been for you, what kind of strategies have you employed, and just curious to hear. So leave a comment. Thanks for following. Thanks for watching. I did upload. Well, I'm working on uploading some of the audio from these in podcast form. So if you are driving or something, you want to listen in the car, you don't necessarily have time to actually watch these videos. You can listen. So find me on. It should be listed on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. But thank you guys as always. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch these or listen to these, and comment. Send me a message. I really want to get this community kind of going. It just seems like there's a whole community of donor recruitment professionals out here that don't have a lot of interaction with each other. So I'm trying to change that. We're trying to get involved a little bit and see what everyone else is working on. So thanks so much, guys, and we'll be in touch.